Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. Hope everybody is having a wonderful day. We have a crazy amount of things occurring in the market, especially with a lot of earnings from the mega blue chip Mag 7 stocks and a lot of volatility that's bouncing around across the board, especially with Palantir. But as we've been talking about for the previous few weeks, our end of the year price target was Palantir testing that $200 resistance, and here we are. 2 months before the end of the year, testing that zone. We're going to be talking about what this can mean, where I personally think we are in the middle of this AI kind of revolution and industrial boom, and what can lie ahead of us, especially with only 2 more months left to go, and where is that whole quarter four rally that everybody is expecting? Could this be the bottom, or is there still room for a decline? If you're a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos. We're trying to hit 30,000. And if you want to talk to me more on X, we're talking more, getting more involved with the community, follow down below, pop it up on the screen here. Palantir closes right here at 194. And we've been talking about this. Of course, we saw with the big partnership with NVDA, finally had its breakout. After this strong base and consolidation between 171, between 187, broke through those all-time highs. You can see Palantir here relatively quickly gapped up to 199, was about over $200 in the overnight session for just a little bit, closes right here at 194. I'm probably going to be expecting consolidation here in the short term, just because after big news and things, and after Palantir gaps up, it tends to consolidate and just kind of sit there for a while. So we could be testing this 200 resistance for some time. However, we could also break through it, and that is because on Monday we're going to have earnings that's going to be coming out after the market. Those are going to be very interesting. Palantir, of course, is priced for perfection, so take that with a grain of salt in terms of downside potential. However, with the recent partnership and the NVIDIA, and historical type of trendiness with Palantir earnings, they've typically done quite well. So we'll just keep that in the back burner, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when that comes out here. But we're seeing, even though a decent kind of breathing in the market today, and a lot of individual stocks taking a good breath, the after hours in the overnight session right now is experiencing a lot of buying pressure. So tomorrow is going to be quite interesting. Specifically, Palantir here up about $3 in the overnight session, right now at 197. We're seeing momentum kind of across the board. The reason being is because we have Amazon that comes out with historical, basically slam dunk earnings, and Amazon, as we know, year to date has been the lowest performer in the Mag 7, and which it was only up like 3% year to date. This was at like 212 just basically a month ago, even possibly less. So Amazon right here, there was a lot of uncertainty that really spooked the market since they announced their layoffs of like 30,000 corporate workers, and that was just due to the fact that possibly AI is going to be starting to step in as the middleman. These kind of middleman managers, is AI going to be able to replace these jobs? And that lies the whole debate. Is that bullish or bearish for these companies in terms of margins and operating? In terms of profits and cutting costs, in terms of workers, it just, unfortunately, people are probably going to lose their jobs. They should start getting a little more well-rounded, I would say, more skilled in different things that are necessary that AI can't necessarily do right now. But nonetheless, for financials, it's typically bullish for the business, and that's exactly what we're seeing here with Amazon. You can see it in the coming to fruition right here. I mean, numbers don't lie. You can see up about $30 in the overnight session right here, after they come out with some really good earnings. So Amazon finally getting some love. Same thing with Apple, actually kind of sold off a little bit to 267 from 272, pops up here to 284. So also having good earnings. This could help install some confidence for Friday's session after the market took about a 1% breather today, basically just kind of hanging out. We don't really know what's happening because a lot of the events are pointing towards a bullish remaining end of the year. So people are like, okay, is this a shakeout? Are these the market makers filling lower gaps, triggering stop losses, trying to get liquidity for the next run up? I mean, of course, I don't know, but there's going to be a lot of speculation out there with why the market is kind of taking a breather and sitting on the sidelines right now. I mean, let's talk about Meta here. I think this is a little overdone. This is a big, big trendy stock right now on a lot of people's radar in terms of possible possibly the buy in the dip opportunity, because Meta goes here from 753 down to 659 here for this bottom, currently at 677 in the overnight hours. Now, with Meta, they had just a huge tax bill that they had to pay. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I think the algos are pushing the stock down a lot further because, relatively speaking, they had decent earnings. So Meta right here taking this much of a beating, I don't know if it's that well deserved. So this could end up being a decent opportunity. I guess we'll see what happens in about a month. I'm personally not getting into this position right here just because I'm basically fully kind of exposed to where I want to be right now. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Good luck to anybody out here trying to take this trade. In terms of futures right now, up a little bit. Like I said, the overnight session, the after hours are catching a little bit of a bid. But CNBC here talking about the NASDAQ down 1.6% with Meta and Microsoft declining after earnings. It's a value day, they say right here. One of the good things is that we have kind of de-escalation between Trump and China, talking about agreeing to cut some of the tariffs here. Now, we saw kind of a structure on what they wanted to do. We didn't see any official announcement, just more of a structure on everything that they're doing regarding their negotiations. So once more of an official announcement, I think, comes out regarding, we did get delaying. They'll talk about the rare earth exports, and we also have, it looks like China's going to be buying soybeans, thank God, because with that whole soybean thing, that really spooked the market. It's crazy how some beans can just move, billions and billions of dollars. But nonetheless, right here, I still think we're in the midst of a decent bull market. This is an X stock X post that I saw, and it really kind of drove this whole philosophy of mine home in terms of still maintaining a bullish position, at least until the end of the year. Mega cap here, earnings confirmed that the AI build out and capital expenditures is not slowing down anytime soon. And the numbers in the guidance are astronomical, saying that if you think that CapEx is a bubble, it's likely going to inflate even further. These companies would rather overspend and waste money versus underspend or risk losing AI. And that's exactly, I agree with that statement 110%, is that these companies are spending an enormous amount. Data centers, just the investment into AI teams, it is absolutely astronomical with the amount of capital that's being deployed into these markets and even into expanding. Things like that we saw with Oracle taking on billions of dollars of debt just to try to build out AI, data centers. They want to be the leaders and they're competing against each other, which is going to require a ton of capital. With that, you can see the earnings are continuing to do quite well across the board, especially with the Mag 7s. And shows you, for people that are saying that AI is a bubble, even if we are in a bubble, I wouldn't mind them to keep screaming it because I think there's still more room for growth in the market. They say here, not even the dot-com bubble came close to numbers like these. So, yes, there's going to be a downtrend at some point. However, sitting on the sidelines, I think, I can't sit on the sidelines for too much longer, at least being exposed in some way. Of course, have your own risk appetite out there. Let's talk about going here to Coinbase, more on the crypto side of things. Coinbase comes out here, big beats by 28% for their earnings per share here, revenue by 4%. Earnings per share up 436% year over year. Coinbase is doing quite well. And this is where we saw Ethereum being beat down as we've been talking about BMNR, of course. Interesting prices right here. Ethereum being beat down here to about 36.89 as this bottom. And after we saw liquidity coming in into the after hours in the overnight session, and especially with Coinbase here, showing here that they continued to buy Bitcoin, holding a ton of Bitcoin, remaining bullish on that type of long-term position, you're seeing a bid that is coming back in for Ethereum, pushing it here back to 3,800. So Ethereum now has been kind of just hanging out and has established this big support level right at 3,700. That was tested today, and you can see a reversal was triggered there, and I guess we'll just see what happens. One of the big things is we only have one more day in October, which has just been kind of, it's been a decent month. The Mag 7s have been doing a good job keeping the index up. Index right here at over 6,800, a very strong close, even taking a 1% breather today. So could this be a breath before November starts? Possibly. I think we'll see what happens. Still, there's some uncertainty with me, but at these prices, BMNR is trying to regain some support here right now in the overnight session at 47. dropped down to an intraday bottom here in the 44s, which with the amount of Ethereum that they have right now, native asset value is quite well for BMNR at those prices, considering that they were just in the mid 50s last week. So where it sits right here, if we see a reversal at all, kind of gaining this $47 level support where it sits at right now, was this a final shakeout before we start to see more bullishness come into the market? Depending on how the stars align, only time will tell. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.